Nikolai, how are we doing?
The town's crawling with those freaks. No chance of fighting our way out of the city. Why is she here?
She's hoping to get the trains running again.
Bad time to start carrying dead weight, friend. She's unreliable. Can't pull the trigger when it counts.
Hey, take it easy.
Nikolai Zinoviev is one of the most mysterious men that Jill Valentine will meet during the events of the game Resident Evil 3. An incredibly skilled and dangerous mercenary under the command of Umbrella's paramilitary, Nikolai is one of Umbrella's most trusted agents under the UBCS banner, boasting a mission survival rate that's only rivaled by the fabled HUNK himself. Nikolai would be sent into Raccoon City with objectives beyond those of his fellow soldiers, and with the skills that he'd learned from a lifetime of battle, he would stop at nothing to get the job done.
I'm not unaffected. No, wait, please!
What the fuck?
He was infected.
He might have been infected.
Oh, stars.
The story of Nikolai Zinoviev as we know it begins with his birth in the capital of the Russian SFSR, Moscow. Born in 1963, Nikolai would grow up in a nation that was still very much so fearful after the conclusion of the Second World War. Conflict between soldiers had ceased, but the rising tension of further potential bloodshed amongst nations kept Nikolai and his countrymen from truly knowing peace. His childhood steeped in this climate, Nikolai would enter the Russian military when he would come of age, eventually becoming one of the highest regarded soldiers amidst the Spetsnaz. And even though the nature of his missions were kept confidential by the Russian government, his reputation as a man who could get things done was something that couldn't be contained. And it would be thanks to this excellent record that once the Soviet Union had collapsed in 1991, Umbrella would come to call on the decorated veteran, offering him a new position as a soldier in their UBCS paramilitary. Nikolai, along with many former Soviet soldiers, would accept Umbrella's gracious offer, one of them being another former member of the Spetsnaz and friend to Zinoviev, Sergei Vladimir. Sergei and Nikolai's talents would allow them to quickly rise through the ranks of the UBCS, Sergei becoming the captain of the guard for the company, while Nikolai would become the squad leader of Delta Platoon's B team. Both men still keeping in close relation, as Sergei would invite Nikolai to become one of his monitors, an off-the-books position that allowed the company to keep secret tabs on its personnel, as well as deal with any unsightly evidence that could damage the company if it were to come to light.
Bard. Tyrell. Bard's dead. He's been shot.
Shit, and the vaccine?
I'm looking.
We'll look harder.
However, despite Nikolai's ruthless efficiency in the field and position as Delta Squad commander, a leader he was not. Nikolai would garner himself a reputation for returning from the throes of a mission alone, his unit being little more than fodder for the commander as he put success even above his soldiers' lives, a trait which would earn him little trust from the men under his care. Yet, despite this, his results spoke for themselves. And so, when a T-virus leak would begin to consume the city of Raccoon, he was one of the first men that Umbrella wanted chartered into the chaos. In September of 1998, Nikolai's unit would make groundfall in Raccoon, with the official task being to save the survivors that they could and quell the outbreak if possible. Unfortunately though, by the time they'd arrived, things in Raccoon were much worse than they had anticipated. Most of the UBCS soldiers would be slaughtered shortly after their descent, the horrors of the onslaught claiming the lives of all but a few, who fell back to regroup in the city's subway tunnels, Nikolai being among them. However, while their temporary leader Mikhail Victor would order the remaining mercenaries to stay the course, Nikolai had more pressing tasks at hand. Umbrella had ordered the Monitor to perform various research and cleanup tasks around the city. He was to gather battle data on the various BOWs that were now roaming the streets, including their Nemesis prototype, gather blood samples or the body of the Thanatos tyrant, and destroy any evidence at the Spencer Medical Hospital that could link them to the T-virus vaccine research that they were funding there.
My employer, the Umbrella Corporation, engineered this virus. And they ordered my team to develop a vaccine, which we did. Now,
In addition to these Umbrella-sanctioned tasks, though, he would also be contacted by a third party with an interest in undermining the corporation's efforts. And with the staggering amount that they were willing to pay upon his success, their offers took top priority over Umbrella's own. Nikolai would go on to complete his Monitor-assigned tasks with the precision and stealth that he'd become known for, as well as devising situations where he could observe his fellow UBCS soldiers fending for themselves against various bioweapons. Nikolai would manage to gather everything that he needed for both of his employers before the night's end. And as the US government was announcing their plans to destroy the city, he was making his plans for a final escape. However, amid the perfections of his completion, a blemish had begun to surface. A woman named Jill Valentine, the city's last remaining member of the RPD's STARS unit, and the target of the Nemesis T-type, had managed to survive the night's horrors. A turn of events that would throw a wrench into his otherwise perfect performance. Nikolai Zinoviev is one of the most fascinating men that Jill will encounter during her adventures. A ruthlessly effective soldier whose only real loyalty is to the dollar. A man so effective in the field that before you've even caught on to his mission, he's completed it. Nikolai is the pinnacle of Umbrella's paramilitary. A merciless mastermind and a truly dangerous man.
Carlos! No!
Knew you couldn't pull the trigger.